Hey, what that, I looked at that 12-year-old.
Which one? Okay, is that one? The top one? This one?
I didn't know how to break it down for all of them.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's
It's awful. But,
Good afternoon. We're ready to start.
we're
Oh
trying
my
to
gosh.
walk with them too. And
That's cool, man. I appreciate it.
yeah, no, I'm thankful. But yeah, she's.
You have it on the, never mind.
Does. I'm hoping it's ready. Works out.
Remember, you're on the mic.
I mean, metal top of it.
We're ready to start.
You're with Dare Care?
Yes,
Rules.
yeah. They put up with it.
No, we need you.
You want me to read it now?
Couldn't do it.
This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS 61.826 and Council Rule 5A.
I'm going to take these out of order. I'm going to take number 2 first because it's real short. You guys has a presentation, right? Okay. That's okay.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to accept $40,500 of funding from the U.S. Department of Agriculture through the Summer Feeding Service Grant Program to be administered by the Department of Public Health and Wellness. Read in full.
Motion.
Skipped over the introduction, so I'm the council, the clerk. I'm not the clerk. I'm the chair. Councilwoman Barbara Shanklin. I did not bring my glasses like always. With me here is the vice chair, Councilman Stuart Benson, Councilman Marcus Winkler, Councilman Dan Sam, Councilwoman Jenny Woolridge. I always say Jenny Woolridge. Okay, we'll get started. She's already read the. Is there someone here to speak on it? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Taylor Ingram, and I serve as the Chief of Staff for the Department of Public Health and Wellness.
Any questions or concerns? Yeah. Do we have anyone to speak on it or any concerns or no concerns? You just spoke on it.
I'm happy to share a few words if you'd like to learn more about the grant. I know you've got a lot on the agenda this afternoon, so.
Does anyone else have anything? I didn't think I heard that. Okay. So all in favor? No one's against it, so we'll send it to the consent calendar.
We'll be just a moment, ma'am, before we start the presentation.
Okay, we're ready for the second one. Cheryl, you want to? Is it? Cheryl, you want first one?
Item 1, addressing food insecurity in Louisville.
Good afternoon, Chair Shanklin and Vice Chair Benson and distinguished council members. My name is Vincent James. I'm the president and CEO of Dare to Care Food Bank, and I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to come and to share the state of food insecurity in our community and talk about the partnerships that we work with, and the partners we work with are so vital to what we do here in Louisville. Food insecurity, when we talk about it, it's more than just hunger. When you think about the idea for families to wake up in the morning, or an individual or a senior, to understand where they're going to get their next meal from. And yet, in the wealthiest country in the world, we experience it every day, and especially here in Louisville, Kentucky. And so when we think about food insecurity and the impact that it's having, we really are working really hard with over 300 other nonprofits and faith communities. Before I go any further, I want to share a video that really talks about some of the impact and visualize some of the things that are happening with our partners.
Hunger looks like everybody, from middle class to the lower class to no income, children, elderly, it looks like everybody.
The food from Dare to Care has had a very positive impact. We are able to provide a wide variety of food, not just canned goods, but also stuff like fresh meat and dairy and fresh produce. I had a mom come in. She was a single mom trying to provide for all her kids. It was the first time she ever needed a pantry like this. And she was honestly in tears. I was able to sit down with her and go through our food list and say, all right, here's what we have, here's what we can get you, and here are some other resources we can provide.
Not too many fathers will come in, and we don't see too much of that. I had a guy that come in and he was like, I've never done this. I'm so sorry that I have to come here and ask this. He said, but I need food for my family. So he started bringing donations in to us after that. And he was like, you don't realize how much you helped my family. And I was so afraid to ask you for help because I've never had to do that.
At the Capital Community Center, we offer our Greeley Pantry, which has a choice care pantry, which you can come in and shop. No cost, you get to pick what you want. The things that you need are all accessible for free here. If it wasn't for Dare to Care, there would be no food. 99.9995% of our food comes from Dare to Care. You've been a blessing to all those who really need the help, who can't, maybe not get it somewhere else. They can come here and they can get it. And that's the great thing about it.
So we have surveys that we do every year. And one of the parents put on the survey, and the kid also separately put on the survey, I like coming because I get to eat. And that oh, sorry. That was such a big deal because I didn't know at the time about his situation. And I just saw the survey and I was like, oh, but you didn't tell me that. And he was like, well, we don't want to make it into a big deal. And I was like, but it is kind of a big deal. So, and I'm always really grateful for what they do.
Now, as you can see, this work is critical. I've seen this video 100 times at least, and every time it impacts me in a way that I see people that I see and talk with every day that are impacting our community that don't have access to food. But the fact that Dare to Care is in existence, we're able to provide, and with the generosity of Metro Council, what you all provided throughout the years has been a tremendous asset. Currently in Metro Louisville, we're seeing a drastic increase when we talk about food insecurity and the numbers that we're seeing now. We're seeing numbers that we haven't seen in the past 20 to 30 years at the rate of increase that we're seeing. Since 2023, food insecurity has been steadily increasing. Visits to our food pantries and our partners have continued to increase, and it's increasing at a troubling rate. This is really deeply concerning when we think about the impact that it's literally having in our community with real people. These numbers, behind each number is a real person behind that. And the question may come, why are we seeing this now? What is causing this? And we understand it to know this rise in inflation and cuts to SNAP benefits that we understand and recognize. And one of the main reasons when we see the expiration of the post-COVID benefits, when that was really a safety net for a lot of families, as well as the lack of expanded resources through SNAP benefits, as well as seeing child tax credits cut. When those ended, families were starting to experience even more food insecurity because they had fewer resources, and many turned to Dare to Care for help. When we look at the inflation, struggling families are really having to make a decision when they go into thinking about going to the grocery store. Do I really get groceries for my family? Do I put gas in my car? Or do I provide myself with the health benefits I need for medication to continue to live a quality life? And these are decisions that no one should have to make. Dare to Care is doing everything possible that we can do to meet this rising demand. Even though this demand is continuing to increase, our programs that we have help to fill many of the gaps that our neighbors are facing. And last year alone, we distributed over 17 million pounds in Louisville metro area. But the rising need is continuing to happen. In spite of that, key support at the same time is continuing to decrease. We've seen decrease in terms of funders and supporters, the number of supporters, as well as across the country, we're seeing these numbers in key supporters that are continuing to dwindle. The current spending proposal that's before Congress now is going to dramatically impact our ability to be able to serve our neighbors through the USDA commodity programs. Those being cut take up about 20% of the food that we give out every day. These cuts are not just going to affect us, but they're going to affect over 300 community partners that we have, that we work together with to address food insecurity in our community. It's going to impact schools where we have school pantries. It's going to impact our area ministries, and even the after-school programs that we provide through our Kids Cafe program. And so today, I'm joined by Shane Slater. He's the chair of our agency partner advisory council, who can speak to the real world application in terms of what we're seeing and the impact that these challenges are having. So I would like to invite Shane if he would come up. He's also the executive director for Exodus Family Ministry.
Thank you, Vincent James, and thank you all. I've had the opportunity to come up here before and speak a little bit about what we do. What do we see? We're a pantry. We're on the ground. We see real life people come in the door. Right now, we have seen the biggest increase in messages through our emails or phone calls, voicemails left for people that are in desperate need of food. Last spring break and this spring break, we were berated with calls from mothers specifically that were in tears because they didn't have enough food to take care of their kids during spring break. And so we go out and we deliver food boxes, and my kids are not very excited when I go to the grocery store. I don't know about your alls. They kind of take it for granted. But when you walk in a door and kids act like it's Christmas because they have food, those are things that a lot of us take for granted that we see real time as we take food boxes to these kids and to these families that are struggling. Our food pantry, which is located in Southwest Jefferson County, we went from serving about maybe 1,000 people a month to right now we're averaging 2,100 people a month served just in the difference of a year. And it's pretty overwhelming to think about the need that just continues to rise. We are seeing more families that have never had to use a food pantry before. A lot of them don't know what to do. They're ashamed of the fact that they have to show up, but they're showing up because they're so desperate they don't have another option. We're seeing more seniors than we've ever seen before since we've been open as a food pantry since 2021. We are also doing more deliveries than we've ever had to do. Last year, we were doing about 90 deliveries to homes per month. Right now, last month, we delivered 323 food boxes to homes because people don't even have the transportation right now to be able to get to a food pantry to be able to access food. When you think about seniors with no transportation trying to use our public transportation to go to the grocery store, how many bags of groceries do you think a senior can carry with them and take to their home? Or a single mom with kids, how many bags can she hold in her hands after leaving a grocery store to be able to get back to her house? We're seeing people that do have SNAP benefits because there's not a grocery store in their area. They're having to use those SNAP benefits at gas stations. And so you're not getting quality food. You're getting whatever you can to sustain your family, but it's not healthy. I mentioned earlier that we're getting more messages than we've ever gotten, and I want to share a couple of those real messages. This is from the last week that our ministry's gotten. Hello, my name is, I'm not going to mention the name. I am new to the state. I have 5 small children, and I am in need of food. I have no transportation or family here to help. I wanted to know if there was anything you can do. Please, we desperately need help. Thank you. Another message we got this week. Hi, I have 2 elderly and sick parents that are in need of food, 74 and 77 years of age. I don't have a car, and I can't go to the store. They're on a fixed income, so the funds they have left over are gone, and they've eaten any of the food they had for the month. Is there any way that we can get food assistance? I will be very appreciative. Thank you so much. We have a local pantry, but we're not able to get there. We see people with health concerns, diabetes, that should be eating a certain diet, that because all they can afford is to go out and buy chips and peanut butter. I mean, we have one gentleman with neuropathy that could barely make it to the door, and as a diabetic was surviving on peanut butter because that's all he could do. So these are very real things that we see week in and week out. We delivered a food box last week to seniors and took them food, and the only place they had to store that food was a cooler. And the husband, who's in his 70s, was walking to the gas station to get ice every day to put ice in the cooler. So these are real conditions that people in our city are living in, and they don't have access to the food they need. Dare to Care did not ask me to do this, but I do want to thank them for standing in the gap for partners like us that we're not big enough sometimes to get the voice we need, but the advocacy work that they do goes a long way for us so that they can relay what we're seeing on the streets. You know, they've offered us a seat at the table to be able to voice what we're seeing in our communities. They've given us the data that we need to be able to go after funding opportunities and grants. We've been able to get grants through Dare to Care for things like shelves so that we can have more food. They've donated one of their old refrigerated box trucks so that we could move more food to our pantry to offer more food to our guests. And then also, we've been able to get funding through Dare to Care, thanks to the funding they received, to be able to increase our storage space. So we now have a combo walk-in freezer and refrigerator so that we can actually access or have access for our clients better dairy, eggs, produce. So all of these things are thanks to some of the work that they're doing that sometimes doesn't get acknowledged or mentioned, but we're so grateful. And I really just want to express, as someone that has to see these faces, you know, some of the things that are proposed, if we take a hit like we potentially could with food, you know, some people in this room aren't going to have to look at people and say, we don't have food for you today. But I do, and I don't want to look these kids in the face and have to tell them, you can't eat. We have nothing for you. And so I just ask that you continue to make the right decisions and help so that people in our community that need it the most can get served and get served with dignity. I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Shane, and thank you to this committee. You know, again, as you can see, I mean, real world application in terms of what we get to do on a day-to-day basis. It both is an opportunity for joy because you're able to help someone, but it also is an opportunity that we experience sadness because no one should ever have to make those tough decisions, and yet they do, but we want to be there, and because of the resources that you all have provided for us, we are able to take care of hundreds of families all across all 26 Metro Council districts. We've impacted each district across this city. And so we are encouraged and excited. And I personally want to say thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Shanklin, Chair Shanklin, and thank you, Vice Chair Benson, and all of you for supporting the work that is so critical for our community. So thank you, Shane, for coming and sharing. And I have a couple of my team members here too. We want to entertain any questions that you may have for us. If you do so, I want to open that opportunity up now.
Want to make a comment. I did Dare to Care yesterday. And I started out with 30 people, and now I have over 100. And our, their care doesn't open to 10. When I get there at 7:30 to get it started, they're already in the line, and the line goes all the way out across Poplar Level Road. We block up the traffic every time, and I know you guys do too.
Yes.
So, but yesterday, the thing that really bothered me the most was one of the schools called and said they had a kid that needed some food, and they would send somebody over. And so we made a large box for him because, you know, he was the only child, but the mother can't walk, can't get out there to help or anything. And so we made a lot of food for him. And he was, when the teachers called us, he was so excited. And then I had a kid at Newburgh Middle School. The counselor called and said, and it wasn't one of our days. And of course, I have a key to everything. And so she said, this kid won't go home. He's standing out in the parking lot and he doesn't go home every day and they get in trouble. And so they took him in and asked him, why don't you go home? And he said, because there's nothing to eat at home. And so we made a big box of food. I never saw the kid, took this down to Newburgh Middle School and gave it to him. But the program in Newburgh has grown so much that I've gotten to the place that I go over to the other one and load up my car and go into some of my seniors. And they think I'm crazy because I have all of this food. I can't even see out the window. But Caleb, my aide, and I, we do that once a month. And we finally got our freezers filled up. And it's just a really nice thing to see all the people out there. When I come out, everybody in that line is saying, thank you, Ms. Shanks, thank you. And that everybody there knows who I am. Because I'm always delivering somebody's food or whatever. But we have to have the food. We have to have, you know, because I have a lot of seniors. I think I've had 8 to pass since I started doing this, but I'm still, my aide, he's packing boxes to people's houses and things like that. But we love doing that. Because one day it's going to be us. And so
Yes.
we got to look out for the people there. And we're not doing it just to look out for ourselves later on, but we see the hunger in these people's in their eyes, and they get so excited if it's a pastry or something like that left over and cakes and stuff. You talk about somebody getting happy because they actually get those cakes and things. So, and I know Tammy does the same thing. She's on the list, but I invite every one of my council members to come out on my second Monday of the month and just see what we do. I've had the mayor there throwing turkeys in at Thanksgiving in the back windows of the cars. And I said, Mr. Mayor, come on out and see what we do. And he really enjoyed himself out there, putting turkeys in the cars and talking to the people. And so, and I invite, like I said, every council person just to come out and see what we do and how many people show up. And like I said, if you're out there at 7:30 in the morning waiting, you need the food. And we don't even open till 10. So just wanted to share that. And I'm going to ask some of the council members to make sure they go with me the next time so they can see.
Thank you for your support.
Now, next I have Marcus Winkler, Councilman Winkler.
Thank you, Chair Shanklin. And Vincent, thank you to you and your team for being here and for all of the work that you do in our community. I think, you know, your presentation, it's really shocking to see the numbers. And, you know, when you see that 1 in 5 kids is food insecure in the city of Louisville, you know, it's really depressing and hard to believe that a country as rich as ours, that, you know, fully 20% of our children are food insecure. And I think we all know that, you know, food insecurity is insecurity, generally speaking. And, you know, hard to have good outcomes at school, good social behavioral outcomes when you're hungry. And so applaud you and your team for all of the work that you do there. You know, I also want to thank all of our community partners that help provide food to you, be it, you know, some of our grocery stores or other nonprofits that help provide funding and inputs that you use to then distribute to the various agencies across the community. You know, I would also be remiss if I didn't call out Dr. Shanklin, who I think you have no bigger supporter on council than Dr. Shanklin. And
Absolutely.
having been at her food handouts, you know, I can attest that the line is down the street before they open up. And I think that's true, you know, not just in Newburgh or in West Louisville. It's true in my district. I mean, when we have food handouts at the Berrytown Senior Center, you know, that line is 40 cars deep well before the handout started. And again, sort of speaks to the need across the community. I guess the one thing that I would ask you is, you know, anybody watching, anybody paying attention today that wonders how they can help. Can you speak a little bit about, you know, what action the public can take in terms of providing support to you, whether it's, you know, financial donations, extra food that they've got in their pantry, where are some dropout sites that they can use? You know, I know when you're checking out a Kroger, they have those brown bags that you can buy. Can you speak to all of the ways that the public can get involved to help meet this need across our community? Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Councilwoman Winkler. And absolutely, there are multiple ways that individuals can get involved. One, simply going to daretocare.org, our website. You can volunteer. We have 3 locations that individuals can volunteer at. Fern Valley, which is our large warehouse. If you've never been to Dare to Care's warehouse, it's much like if you've ever been to a Costco, a Sam Club. It's a warehouse filled with food that we distributed throughout the 13 counties. And 65% of what we do is right here in Metro Louisville. You can also not only volunteer, but you can also donate. For every dollar that's donated, we're able to provide the community with 2 meals. And so that's an opportunity to be able to provide fresh and nutritious meals to families who otherwise wouldn't get it. So they can go onto our website and also directly can donate through our website. The other aspect in terms of the way that people can do is really just advocate, talk with their neighbors, check in on their neighbors. You know, Dare to Care was started in 1969 as a tragic result of the death of Bobby Ellis, who passed away on Thanksgiving Eve, and his faith leaders came together and said, this can't happen in our community again, and started Dare to Care. And I had an opportunity to talk with Bobby Ellis' sister, and I just called her just to check on her. And she said, you know, Vincent, if somebody would have checked on us some 50 plus years ago, my brother could still be alive. And so I would encourage just neighbors check on neighbors, making sure all right, especially if you have seniors in the community and you know that they don't have access to food, help them out. So those are some of the ways in which people can get involved.
Thank you. And if I could just have one follow-up, just to make sure we give you a good plug here. I don't know if you said it's daretocare.org. Right?
Yes, daretocare.org. Yes, daretocare.org.
Thank you, Chair Franklin. First, I want to say thank you. All my praise go to Dare to Care, so I want to know who ain't supporting them. That's what I want to know. I want to make sure that what you need, that you get it. You partnering with Shane, I know the work that Shane does personally. You know, he's been in my district, works really hard. I definitely support him. You know, I support a lot of entities, but you just grabbing on and just giving them a seat at that table, you know, that speaks even more volume. I went out to Councilwoman Shanklin's district, and I've been wanting to copy her success, you know, in my district, you know, right there where your office is at, right?
Right.
As you know, when I do the food drives, people come from everywhere and it's long lines. But just being able to, you know, to copy what she does is just something. It's the truth to see the smiles on those people's faces. It takes you a long way.
Yes.
You know, when you can put a smile on other people's faces, just being able to do that. So I just want to make sure that you're getting exactly everything that you need to continue to make that happen, not in every district. Because, I mean, I understand that a lot of people say that the West End has a lot of, you know, food barriers, but also I know my colleague over there in Fern Creek, and Fairdale, I'm sorry, you know, he has a lot of people out in that area, you know, that has a lot of food insecurities, you know, just all over the city. You know, if you all could just tap in, or, you know, it is just so many entities that are trying to do the work all over this city. I just, I get speechless a lot of times because you guys are just doing awesome work. And I really think that the amount that, I know that you all asked for last year, if the grade, if that needs to be larger, like we need to know, so we can make that happen. Because that resource has to stay in place. And I think it's a grateful use for taxpayers' dollars because you touch pretty much, everyone. And I want to say thank you for always going over and beyond, not just the brand Dedicare, but you personally. You stand, you also, when you look at Dedicare, you look at who's the representative, right?
Right.
And it's you all. And I want to say, I know it's not easy, and I just want to continue to support you all in the work that you all are doing. And you also make us look good. There's no way that, Councilwoman Shanklin could do this. You make us look good as council members providing this service. So we definitely want to stay in tune, and we definitely want to continue to support whatever the needs is that you all have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hawkins, and you're absolutely right. I mean, what we asked for, we definitely, that number could be doubled. And, in terms of being able to support our community, because those resources go directly right back into the community, taking care of families across all 26 Metro Council districts. And so we are very proud to say that we have an opportunity to stand in the gap, but we can't do it without the resources, and especially with the federal cuts that we are even beginning to think about seeing, but what we've already experienced. We just got an email 2 weeks ago at 3 o'clock in the morning that our CCC federal funding has been cut. So that's food that's already been cut. The reconciliation budget has not passed, but those impacts are going to happen right here in our community. And so the resources that the city has that can provide us to be able to redistribute that right in the community, we can do it at a much lower cost than anyone in this city can do. And we do it in a much more efficient way because we need the volunteers as well. So folks can come in because volunteers help to keep costs down. We don't have to have the overhead and personnel. We can maximize the opportunity through volunteers, much like what is you've been talked about today with Dr. Shanklin and what she shared. We couldn't do it without you all.
Dan, when I needed something, I'm not sure what it was, and I talked to Dan about it, and he had a truck that came out to Newburgh, a big truck, and he brought all kind of food for the kids. I think it was during the time the kids were out of school, and he brought all kind of boxes and things that they could eat snacks and wouldn't have to cook anything, and mom wasn't home. So I want to say thank you, Dan, because you did come out during the summer. It wasn't summer, I don't think. Might have been when school was out, spring break. And I also wanted to thank Second Press. We have so many volunteers. Yesterday, they were all walking on top of each other. It was, we had fruit and all kind of stuff. And they were actually, I know we had about 20 volunteers all in at one little spot giving out food, and they always there for us. All we have to do is maybe get some donuts or something, and they there. So we just appreciate people that come out and help us. And they also come on Saturdays. Second Press does, and they have we fill the boxes and with canned goods and all of that on a Saturday, and we just wait till that Monday, and then we put the meat in it. So on Monday morning, everything's already packed and on the table when they get there. So when their car come through, we have somebody, they just open the trunk and just have them put the box in there with all the stuff already. So we move pretty fast, and like I said, we're getting more and more people coming. So I appreciate that. And then I want to get Councilman Dan.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. I wanted to thank you and thank you for partnering with Exodus Ministries and Shane. I've been doing a lot of work with Shane, and I see the heart that he has. And just recently, we had a woman with 3 children. The roof is blown off of her house. She left with only the clothes on her back. And when I got a hold of her, her kids hadn't ate for a week. And they were in the same clothes for a week. And I made one call, and he's on it. And one thing about Shane is he will go out into a camp, into the woods, and feed somebody. He's got a heart to do that. And I'm sitting here 225 pounds, and I don't miss a meal. But these poor kids, and not just kids, but the elderly that we're ministering to in Fairdale, I really appreciate you. We're going to do everything we have to do to fund this, and I thank you for reaching out. People like Shirley's Way is the one that helped Barbara.
Yeah.
And Shirley's Way, they're so good, and when you guys partner together, then people get fed and they get clothed and they get shelter. And I thank you for it. And whatever you bring to this council, we'll make sure we do everything we can to fund it. But thank you for your service to our community.
Thank you, Councilman. We really appreciate that.
Questions or stories? Okay. Councilwoman Ward.
Yeah, so I also want to say thank you for all that you all do. And I was amazed by the numbers that I saw up there. I know I've not only seen it in the schools through the years of my kids growing up, but also see it in the food pantries that you see throughout the community, that, you see them empty across the city. So not only thank you to you all, but thank you to the community members that continue to stock those food pantries.
Yes.
Again, thank you for the support. Anything that you need from any of us, please continue to reach out. Know that we're there to support in any way we can. Also, not only on the food drives, but on volunteers. If there's anything that you need from us, we all have weekly newsletters. So let us get the word out to those within our districts. So if you have something going on or your partners have something going on, please reach out and let us know so we can get that information out to those in our district. And for Dr. Shanklin, thank you for all that you do. I know that I'm right outside of your district, so I see that line that happens not only on Saturdays, but on Mondays. I mean, that line goes on and on
Yes.
and on. So thank you for that and the support that you continue to give to Dare to Care.
Thank you. But without Dare to Care, wouldn't be a line out there.
Agreed.
We appreciate all
Thank you.
you do. And it just means a lot to go over there and work on that Monday and pass out that food. And like I said, I know Councilwoman Woolridge, not Woolridge, we had a Woolridge, that's why I know you remember.
Yes.
Hawkins, she's doing a good job over there, and hers will get bigger and bigger. You probably have more people than I do anyway. I only have 100. Yesterday I had 115, I think.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started out with 30 people. No one else has any questions or concerns? No one else? And we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Keep working.
You know it is what we say.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Thank
It's
you.
definitely, this man is,
Thank you for what you're doing out in
Man.
Fairdale. We don't have a grocery store out there, and you're the only food we get.
wow.
And now we've got,
Yeah, yeah.
our seniors, and they load up at the